And here we are again, back in from the last one, continuing on with R&B. Sticking mostly in the 70s right now, had a little bit of 80s, had a little bit of 60s with Otis. And we're going to continue on with jumping into up to a little bit to 1978. I wonder how many people heard this one. I'm trying to really get off the stay off the beaten track with a lot of these, and this one is another one I heard recently within the last 6 months or so. I don't know where I heard it. I don't know. I try to put myself in the eye of the storm, in the path of the storm, at least to get to some of this stuff, because it really is. There's so much stuff out there that is just, sitting in the bins. And yeah, it's not a ton. It's not a ton of great stuff. It's not like all of it, but you got to do digging. And it's harder to find the time as time goes on to find the time to dig through and sift through and find these little nuggets. But this whole album had some really cool stuff on it. So I had a choice getting to just pick one of these. But I think this one kind of covers some of the basic fundamentals of this record. So 1978, Before the Rain. The song's called Haunted House. Lee Oskar on harmonica. It's his album. Bobby Vega on bass. Greg Errico on drums and guitar. Terry Medeiros on guitar. Paulino Da Costa on percussion. Herman Eberts on piano. Charles Miller on sax, as well as George Chambers, Joe Chambers, and Willie Chambers on background vocals. Written by Greg Errico, the bass player, Kerry Oskar, and Lee Oskar. Okay, this one's called Haunted House. And I won't say it after. If you don't know Lee Oskar, he played with a pretty big band in the 70s. And I'll let you know right after. So here we go. Haunted House. Start off with some spooky. I like that creak. Lee. Me?
Remind me of a haunted house I once was in. You remind me of a haunted house I once was in. Remind me of
Okay, I'm gonna pause it for a second. So I love the build up. It's a great, like, no rush in the intro. Everything just slowly, like, instruments enter. Enter with the bass, the drums. You got the little maracas coming in, little shakers. You got the guitar doing the sort of, I don't know where that comes from. If it's the islands, sort of Jamaica or around there. But yeah, the guitar doing that little kind of like a shell sound. But yeah, love that slow intro. Everything coming in. Harmonica, which, this is, you got vocals, but really this is the harmonica guy's album. So like he's like the guitar, he's like the guitar guy of all the, rock bands, or he's the vocalist of the R&B bands, or he's the saxophone of the jazz bands. He's taken the lead here, but you can't really tell because he's like the flute of the Jethro Tull. He's always going to be there no matter what. So the Oskar continue. Here we go. I'm going to kick it back a little bit because I think it sounds like, they haven't changed too much. It's been been 3 minutes of this slow introduction, a couple verses and everything, but it's halfway through, so there's something else I think it's going to creep in here. Wow. So much, yeah, God. So much to get from that. So many cool choices. Such a fun time. God, imagine being in the studio and with these guys, and just imagine the amount of the satisfaction, the amount of fun they're having. I'm sure it's work. You're paying attention. You're going through stuff there for hours and hours, and your mind's, after a point, you're just wanting to just get it down, get past it. It's a lot. But yeah. So Lee Oskar, the percussion really started to come in at the end. You're hearing every little hit. Really cool. And the Chambers singers, is that what they're with? I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot to take in from this. So yeah, all the other members. You had George Chambers, Joe Chambers, and Willie Chambers. There's something to that. Anyway, this was Oskar's second studio album following his departure from War. So yeah, he was the harmonica player and percussion on War since 1971, their debut album. So a funk jazz fusion album with a strong 1-2 disco beat throughout. This album was well received when released in 1978, although modern listeners may regard some of Lee Oskar's solo work as a bit Muzaki. His straightforward and stripped-down sound design that put the harmonica in a role typically reserved for sax sounded fresh. After leaving War, Lee Oskar pursued a solo career and released several albums showcasing his harmonica skills and musical versatility. He also developed his line of harmonicas known as the Lee Oskar harmonicas, which are popular among harmonica players for their quality and tone. So, yeah. Stayed with War for 7 years through multiple albums. Played on some of their biggest hits. Harmonica was something you didn't mistake when you heard it. They weren't part of a lot of groups outside of the blues. So the fact that he got to play with War and do some solo albums, pretty amazing. And he didn't waste it. He did some really cool songs. So yeah, this album, it's got some other really cool tracks, some ballads, and some the Muzak. I don't know. This is, it's light, it's breezy, it's fun. I don't know if that's Muzak. It doesn't sound fake. It doesn't sound synthetic. To me, this sounds like a really good combo of musicians, making the best of it. So anyway, that's going to finish up this. I appreciate if you were listening to this. If you have any opinions at the time, anything at all, I'd love to hear it. You have some recommendations, I'd love to hear it. And if you want me to focus on anything in this genre or another genre, I'd love to hear it. And I will, see what we can do about getting it out there. And especially if it's something that I haven't heard of. I'll specifically interested in hearing some things and just hearing things for the first time and really having a first time experience with new music. So please take the time and and communicate those things, and I will I'll be there to get back to you 100%. So appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next set. We're gonna go in a different direction like we always do, because I'm trying to cover a wide skew of music, everything from R&B to country to jazz to world music and etc. Again, appreciate you being here, and we'll see you on the next go around. And take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.